All right, all right, all right. Welcome to The Process, the podcast built for athletes dreaming to play college sports, earn college scholarships, be pro, and everyone to achieve a higher level of success in life. Who am I? Again, I'm glad you asked. I am Coach Melvin Luther King, and I got a dream to guide you through the ups and downs and everything in between on this journey to greatness as an athlete and as a person in life. And the process, you ask, what is the process? They asked me what the process is. So what the process is first, we're going to take a deep dive to talking about being strategic. It's about having a strategy to become successful in life or in sports, not just doing the normal or following the Joneses, as I say. Second is having a plan. Because again, if you don't have a plan, the plan will fail. Did you know that?
Yeah.
If you don't even have a plan, then it's going to fail because there's no plan in place. Lastly is engaging with quality organizations like Maximum Impact Training and Track Minnesota Elite and YFDS that help my guest today get to where he's at, which is at a high level collegiate basketball sport in college. And that's what it takes to process, and who we are and who I am that coach between me and my team of coaches that's going to hold people's hands, athletes' hands, people's hands, to walk them through this process of success, this process to get to success. And it starts with, for athletes, it starts with foundational training, working on your strength and your balance and your coordination. And then all the way from that to putting you on a platform to perform in front of college scouts, to actually helping you through the college process. Like we had conversation with some other folks in our past podcasts. So that's kind of the process. And again, we are that organization. I'm that coach to walk you through this process. And today we want to focus more on not just about the process, but let's look at what the process looks like. Let's look at an example of someone who's in the middle of that process to greatness. And with that, I'd like to introduce my guest today, and that's Mr. Demarion Watson. How you doing, Demarion?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm always doing great. I ain't got nothing but good problems, man. We ain't got nothing but good problems. Life is good, So, Demarion, can you just introduce yourself, what college you go to, what you major in, and why you majoring in that sport?
Well, I go to Iowa State. I'm a junior, and I major in marketing. I really just chose marketing because in this day and age, social media is such a big thing. I feel like you could really make a living off social media if you have the right following, if you have the right skills and techniques. So I just chose marketing because of those type of reasons.
Okay, good. And what year are you in again?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior. It's your third year. Okay, so you've been out of Track Minnesota for 3 years, and it's been a while. So let me ask this one more thing with your major and with that marketing major. You kind of touched on it a little bit. In 5 years from now, what do you like that career to look like? I'm just talking about from that perspective.
From a marketing perspective,
yes.
Just building my brand. I feel like in this day and age with NIL, building your brand is huge. So just continue to build my brand and continue to try to just extend my network.
Yeah. And marketing is a great degree or great pathways, because I have a daughter who majored in marketing, went to University of Connecticut. Thoroughbred Anderson, Elise Anderson. And what I've seen her spend her marketing degree in so many different directions and opening so many different businesses, I think that's a really broad degree that you want to go to, because you can really use it in a lot of different ways. And with technology and AI coming, it's the way of the world. So it's really strategic. We're going back to the word strategic about that what you're focusing on, because again, you're going to be able to use it to market yourself and starting a business or whatever that might be. And with everything so digital now, there's no ceiling to that major, So Demarion, wanted to just ask the question. So you started our program as a track kid. Well, you was a track kid. Your mom is a coach. Your mama, she coached for over 22 years with us. Yep. But you became 6'12", and Demarion moved to the basketball phase. But track was his foundation, and I'll call it the first love. I don't know. Was it a love?
It was a love. I just wanted to win so bad, win those medals as a kid. I just fell in love with it. But then as I got taller, I got a little bit slower. Kids started catching up. Kids started getting faster than me. I started playing basketball, so then I just kind of switched to basketball.
Okay, let's talk about that slow thing. So I don't know how we got slower when we was never fast. But anyway, we're going to leave that alone.
Oh, my gosh.
But the only reason to say that because, Demarion, your work ethic is what got you to this level. Because you was never a sprinter, right? Why I don't know, but you was never a sprinter. So Demarion did again, you did the hard stuff. You did the 400. Then we moved up to the 800 again. We couldn't find the speed. We trying to develop the speed backward. We try to start here and go backwards with it. The high jump, the long jump, all these events that you went through. And again, there's very few kids that will run the 400. I always say, if you run the 400, what can't you do in life? But you ran the 8 and the mile. Is that correct?
Yep.
So what other events did you do in track?
I mean, I kind of just dabbled in everything. I did hurdles. I did long jump. I tried triple jump once. I messed up my knee, so I never did that again. So I just kind of dabbled in everything.
Got it. And so then as we talk about things in the context of process, and then so we know we switched to to basketball, which you was doing anyway.
Yeah.
And I know you went on to win the state championship of Totino grades. And again, I like to just say, this elite thing around here just kind of rubs off. All we trying to do is win championships, All-Americans, go to college, Olympics, pros, or whatever that is. And it's one that I think that that's what instills with track and field, what we do instills in you, or helping you through your process. Because at the end of the day, and this is just something for you to know, is what I love about track and field is that it helps create this internal discipline. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of athletes, great basketball players, guys you playing with, this, that, and the other, but don't have that same discipline because a lot of athletes won't put in all these hours of running, all these hours in the long jump, all these 800s and 400s for a 12-second race.
Right.
If you do that, then there's a built-in discipline that's going to carry you further in life and help you deal with all kinds of different situations besides, I got to dribble a ball, I got to throw the ball. I know that's what you do now, but a lot of high-level athletes can't take that, don't have the patience to develop their own individual athleticism. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to speak on now because you're at a high level. You're at a really high level D1 college. And I want to talk about, so from just an athletic perspective, how did the process of an MIT in Track Minnesota make you the what I call, because I say it makes people a super athlete. How did that make you be a super athlete? More specifically, let's talk about what you and Isaac was doing in the gym that got your bounce to a different level.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac helped me tremendously. I feel like before I was with him, I was probably around average athleticism, and afterwards I was at a whole different level. So then just being in the gym with him all the time, working out with him, just doing like little stuff that people wouldn't even like think about, like working on your hips, working on your balance, working on those minor kind of muscles just helped me tremendously and helped me be kind of what you said, a super athlete.
Yes, because I remember, I think you was a sophomore, and you was at Minnehaha at the time where I came to a game, and even though you was about 6'3", 6'4" at the time, you can dunk, but it wasn't nothing just super great or vicious, and I think I seen you get stuck on the rim one time, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But I just know after that year of working with Isaac, all of a sudden you doing 360s and taking it between the leg. I'm like, ooh. So there's a testimony to what we do works.
Absolutely.
Right there, because all of a sudden you jumping out the gym, and then I remember there's other parents on their teams like, man, where you doing this? And now they want to come through because they seen the change in your athleticism and how that helped you. You know what I mean? And so again, but then if we talk about the process, then hope happened overnight, right? You said all these little things that probably didn't make sense, and all the long days, and I mean. What kind of patience does it take to really get to your level?
I mean, like you said, it takes a lot of discipline, just doing the same thing over and over again. You can't get tired of doing the same things and just taking it one step at a time. You got to know not everything's going to happen overnight. It's a process. I mean, your work's going to pay off. You're going to see your fruits of your labor eventually. It's not going to be in one day, and it might not be in a couple months. You just got to continue to work and understand that your work going to pay off one day.
And that's good you mentioned, because we do live in this microwave world, whereas these guys want to go into the microwave. They want to go to one basketball camp, microwave, come out and they Jordan.
Yeah.
It don't work like that. It's again, I go back to what you said. It's about them hips. It's about the core. It's about all these minute, and it's about correcting things. And that's what maximum impact training. One thing our specialty is identifying your deficiencies, and then a bunch of tools of correcting them. That kind of these little pieces of the puzzle that helps you get to where you're at. And I think that and part of this podcast is to educate parents and athletes. Man, you got to put the ball down. You got to work on your own individual talent. Get a lot of soccer players who, at 6, 7, 8, 9, it's all cute and it's good in their body, but they're playing year-round soccer. Now at 10th, 11th grade, their bodies are breaking down. Right. Their hips is going bad. Their knees is going bad because they never took the time out to work on their individual talent and their own individual strength and balance coordinate that makes them a better athlete, to make them get to a type of level that you are at. It's one that, and again, as we're trying to educate parents, is don't go for the money grab. If your kid's on an elite track team, elite soccer program, and if you have to do every season, this is what happens. So they got 4 seasons out of the year. And if they take one of those seasons off, then they're no longer on the elite team. Well, that don't make any sense. You're elite just because I take off 3 months to go and work on my body, or just take a break. That's another thing. We have to learn how to recover and to give our bodies a break, because eventually they break down. I remember when my son went to Wisconsin, the trainers there were talking about how many kids were coming into college with arthritis, because there's just so much. They're doing so much and never taking these breaks. And now those type of things, when you get to be my age, now all of a sudden you're having a hip replacement, knee replacement, because I'm going back to the process of being strategic. And strategic also means taking breaks from time to time, and not just listening to some of these career-killing coaches who's going to say, if you take off one season, you're not going to be on the team. Right. Well, look, I don't know if you got the best interest out for me, And so, but now I want to spin to the track and field, and we talk about track, and this is our goals. If y'all don't know it or not, we ain't getting medals. That's great, and all that. But the ultimate goal is to help you go through a process of practice, stress, success, and failure, to get you ready for the level you at now and 10, 20 years from now, right? And I would just say that, and I'm gonna go back to the practice of, I ain't gonna call it failure, but we always trying to find your event. And again, I commend you for running the 1500, man. I mean, dude, you're 6'4" out here running the 1500 and all that. But just through the track game, man, is there one experience that you can say that was either stressful or success or failure that lends to you being able to get a scholarship? I mean, it was tough. We'll talk about the scholarship process or the recruiting process here in a second. But is there anything within going through changing events or your knees getting hurt, or what lent to your strength now as a person?
Just trying to find my event. I feel like everyone wants to be a sprinter. It's like the most quote-unquote sexiest thing to do. It looks the best. All the people who are getting hyped up, especially in social media, are all sprinters. So and all my friends being sprinters, just finding my event, it kind of just taught me a lot of resilience, understanding like some things aren't for everybody. You got to be able to succeed in your role and your lane. And so just being able to like understand to succeed in your lane, and that your path is not always going to be the same as someone else's.
Exactly, right.
And so just being able to be comfortable in that situation and be able to just work hard no matter what the circumstance is.
Yes. And again, as you know or don't know, that is what's going to make you successful. That's why I ain't worried about you. And like the other alumni, you guys have practiced so much success, stress, and failure that no matter what hits you in life, and whatever you go through in business world, academic, social, that you're going to be okay. And you got to know that, because you done already because you got that as a habit and behavior. It's not about, and a lot of times, as we're repositioning some things we do with YFDS and talking about our track program or a health program, and it's really about how all that lends to our mental health, and a lot of people have anxiety and they have frustrations and depression because they haven't went through these processes that you have went through.
Right.
And they don't know how to manage that, so it turns into mental health versus, no, I done been through that, man. I ran a mile in 80, 90 degrees. I can handle this, right? And so I look at it in the more of organic way of how we're trying to develop, the Demarion, the 40-year-old Demarion. That's what I'm looking at and what that looks like, I want to spin this because we talk about that we've had over 300 kids go to college, and you're one of 51 right now that's in college currently. And part of that is because and again, going back to the why or being strategic is in aligning with organizations like ours is that we connect the dot between developing your athleticism, and then also we help you through the college recruiting process. So I want to talk about the college recruiting process because, again, it's about connecting these dots is why we've had that so much success. So in talking about the college recruiting process, and I know it's been a few years now, but just tell me first, how stressful was it? I mean, they pressuring you to make a decision, but tell me, how stressful was it?
I mean, for me, it was extremely stressful. COVID was still a thing, so scholarships were limited for a lot of schools because schools are getting various transfers, fifth years, and so it got to a point around like July-ish of my junior year where coaches was like, I mean, you got a week and a half to make this decision, or we're going to give this to this other guy, or we might not have a spot for you. So they were kind of just pressuring me in that way. I mean, it's good pressure because, I mean, at the end of the day, I do have an opportunity to go to school for free at a high major program. So it's all a blessing at the end of the day. But just having that kind of pressure and then not wanting to pick the wrong spot, wanting to be in a good place where it's a good fit, where I can feel like I could develop as a person and as a player too. So, and just having great leaders as coaches who can develop me as a man. So
exactly. And again, if I'm talking to any parent or athlete out there now who's in the middle of the college recruiting process, they always play that pressure game. When they give you an offer, now you got a week, you got 2 weeks or whatever that is, and they're telling every athlete that because they don't know who's going to sign and who's not. So they have to do that, and that's just part of the game.
Right.
But at the same time, and depending on what level you're on, like you're at a high-level athlete. When you're high level like you can be a little patient with it, but sometimes you just want to get it over with, know, because you get, and the trips are fine and going to get wine and dine, but it gets played out. It's fun, but it gets played out. You got to keep meeting with the academic advisor and all this and all that at every school, at every trip. And really what you want to do is go to the gym and hang out with the guys and all the other stuff, is not the sexy part, like you put it, but it's a necessary part of the process because as you're evaluating them, they're evaluating you, as a person, as a student. How are you focused in on the academic advisor and what they have to say? Of course, they're looking at your grades, but it's also, it's an evaluation that goes both ways. And so a lot of parents and athletes need to understand that. And then let me ask you this question, and we do this in some of our college workshops as we start saying, okay, let's get this foundational stuff down with your FAFSA and things of that nature. But what about cleaning up your social media? And I mean, how important is that if you're talking to, this next junior or senior or rising senior? What does that need to look like? Does coaches look at that? Does that matter?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of coaches, they might even follow you on social media. And a lot of coaches use Twitter as a social media outlet to maybe even hit you up. Maybe you got to send film to them through Twitter. So, I mean, you got to have a clean social media. You can't be posting any ignorant stuff or anything that you don't want anybody seeing. So you just got to be clean with your social media, be able to be approachable with your social media, and just keep it together.
Got it. So the college recruiting process, if we're educating folks, it's first you got to develop your talent.
Yep.
Then you got to be realistic. Now here, hey Little Johnny, you 5'9", right? Talking about you going to the NBA, you going to go to college and all this, that, and the other. But at the same time, what I always say is, and this is what I love about track and field, because there's so many events like you did, is maybe you're already jumping long jump 22 feet, 21 feet. and you're a sophomore. That gives you 2 years to get up to 24 feet. And now you can get a college scholarship, right? Now you're at that standard. And if like your buddy Gerard, if you're jumping 25 feet, over 25 feet, not only you're going to college, but you're going at the major D1s and talking about NIL, right? And then so I just say that to educate some people. It's like, look, you know, in basketball, come on, we gotta be 6 feet and above and a super athlete, right? Or, you know, and coming out of Minnesota, you had the prototype size, or for like football is a little different. Okay, you could be 5'9", 5'10". I ain't but 5'10" and 3/4 still trying to be 6 feet. but the point is if you're coming out of Minnesota and again you're 5'10" and you got an opportunity to play football, but you got to be fast. You got to be running that 4.4. Like me, I was a 4.36 all day long, still running 10.9. But we ain't gonna get into that today. But what I'm saying is, and I'm trying to educate, is being strategic. Going back to the process of being strategic, you have got to stay in your lane. And I'm 5'10". I can long jump 22 feet. I got 2 years to get to 24. Or I'm 5'10", defensive back, receiver. I want to go to D1 football. And the only way I'm going to get there, because if I don't get no taller, bigger, I got to be running that 4.4, 4.3. And how do you do that? Well, you got to come to MIT.
Absolutely.
You got to come to track. We the speed people. Who else better to teach speed than track coaches? And then it goes into things you had talked about before is behind the speed development is the complementary strength training and hips and core and things of that nature to be able to run those type of speed. And then going back to the process of having a plan. You know, we're working with football players now. Okay, now we're working on speed development. Then we're working on combines because one issue in Minnesota is, and people need to know, and you more basketball now, football, is the state of Minnesota only averages 12 Division I football players a year, the whole state of Minnesota. Wow. And there's many reasons why. It's not that there's not more than 12 Division I athletes, but it's coaching, it's timing, is being lucky, you know. And what I got buddies who's college scouts, you know, and they say, we don't even come to Minnesota to look at football players. And if we do, we're only looking at if you're all state, right? If you ain't all state, we ain't even getting in the weeds. But there's many D1 talent in the weeds. That's their mistake. They got to do their due diligence. But that's where we help develop a plan. So again, the young man we're working with now, getting them fast. Gonna get that 4.4 at least, right?
Yep.
Then we're going to work on combine training. Then also we're lining up junior camps and combines for them to be showcased outside of Minnesota, outside of their high school sport, because a lot of times, you know, you're a wide receiver. I was a receiver. See what I'm saying? Everybody know that. But anyway, I was a receiver. But if you're running around with even running a 4.4 and you ain't nobody throwing you the ball because all you're doing is running, then you're not able to showcase and get film to be able to market yourself, right? So that's where having a strategic plan to say, okay, we're going to go to these camps and these combines, and that's going to happen in May. Now, what we're going to do is back out your training over the next 6 to 7 months to work on the speed development first, and then work on the combine, and then go to these camps, and then on the back end, plug into our college recruiting system. That's connecting those dots right into that different level of success.
Right.
Yep. So let's spin it. Okay, we talked about college recruiting. It changes all the time. And that's the most difficult part. And parents have to educate themselves, or they have to come to us and to better understand the ever-changing process. But I just want to ask you, man, what question do you have of me? I mean, you know, I've done it. And what question you have to ask me about whatever? I'd like to hear your voice.
You know, you're doing this 20-something years. One, what makes you want to keep going every day, makes you want to continue to train kids, even though you've been doing it for so long, and kind of what made you want to start training kids, and especially through the track route?
Right. So, you know, again, great question. And first I would say that in part is I got a gift of coaching and a gift of motivating. You know, there's good coaches, but I consider myself a well-rounded coach where I can motivate, know the details, and can be able to relate with kids, knowing when you have the good day and the bad day and how to push and how to push back, things of that nature. So with that gift, I have to give it back.
Right.
And that's what I've been put here to do. I always talk about this as my ministry and beyond the success and everything. It's about how do we help others? Just like I'm charging you to help others. Once you get to wherever you are, when you're 40, 50 or 50 years old, hey, man, you should be coaching, helping, mentoring, tutoring, whatever that is, because, man, trust me, that is the most organic joy you can have in life is seeing somebody like you develop. And again, I go back to when you was born to now. You know what I'm saying? So we go way back.
Absolutely.
But that is that organic joy that most people don't have in life. Even what we talked about earlier, all the money in the world, it ain't a true joy. I mean, it's a happiness, it's all that. But what is a true joy? Also, we got the man upstairs looking down. Like,
Absolutely.
man, I gave you this talent, or I gave you the millions. What you doing with it? And then, those blessings come and they go. It becomes a curse if we don't. So I would just say that in part is, and it always goes back to my own story, where one college scholarship to the University of Minnesota changed my whole life. Even though I didn't know it at the time, I was just playing ball, trying to get to the league, got my little time in with my hometown. Still, as y'all know, I'm from Pittsburgh, 106-time Super Bowl champs, and we trying to get that 7th one, and I'll be happy after I get that 7th one. But I'm going to leave that alone. But, it's part of just that journey and that success and seeing my 3 kids who's benefiting from that, and that now they'll be charged to go and raise their kids, be successful and coach and give back in whatever way they can in life. And that's how, man, again, it's about that true joy and our God's gift that we have to continue and share. And that's part of this why I started this this podcast, because people don't understand the process to get there. They want little Johnny, little Michael, little Bobby to be great, but don't know how to do it. And then what happens is, all of a sudden, you invested all this money. You did the whole AAU circuit. Imagine all that money, them thousands of dollars your mom spent. I have no idea about how much she spent. And then here you sitting here, a little Johnny, little Bobby, then did all this investment, all this time, wasn't really strategic and doing the other things off the court like the LeBrons and everybody else. Now you sitting here with no offers. Your senior year, now you stressing. Everybody at the table at the high school signing. Everybody asking you, where you going? Well, I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure it out. And, I'm talking to such, and I got a letter from them and a letter from them. And those letters don't mean nothing. It's that offer. It's that paper. It's that offer, right? That really makes a difference. So, again, part of developing this podcast is, look, folks, we got to be strategic. We got to have a plan, because, of course, the plan will fail if you don't have a plan. And saying, what are the key critical elements to get to the level that a Demarion is, and who can help me get through that process. And that's kind of, why I continue this. And not just that, it's about now setting up the next generation of Coach Melvin Luther Kings to come through the process, and really trying to develop my coaches to have that full coaching, again, to be the motivator, to know the X's and O's, to be able to be fluent, and then go back to the secret sauce is the love. This is what y'all buy in, because y'all know we care and we love y'all. And that's, to me, is always been the secret sauce. I mean, you shared with me on that a little bit. Does that make a difference when you know a coach cares about you?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like the more a coach cares for you, the more, especially for basketball, you want to play for them. Like, our coach cares about us so much, it makes us want to even play harder every single day. I mean, he puts so much trust in us that we put so much trust in him. It just kind of goes both ways. They care for us, we care for them. So it kind of creates a love for just the entire program, and then creates that work ethic for everybody, because we know that we're not doing this work for anything that's not going to make us be the best. So everything's going to make us be the best, so we're going to be the best. And we're going to strive for championships, which we've done in the past. So,
and that's what I'm saying. That's all we about is championships around here, and going through the process of success and what it really takes. This has been a great talk with you, sir. You are my fifth guest, I believe. And it's good to have you home for the holidays again.
Absolutely.
One of 51 kids in college, Mr. Demarion Watson. Keep your eye out for this young man at Iowa State. And if you want to join this process, if you're trying to help little Johnny, little Bobby, little Sally get to that next level, what you need you to do is like, comment, and subscribe to the process. Peace. And we out.